Hello everyone and welcome. Do you believe in truth, justice, and the American way? If you do, you're going to love this one. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the Rapid Action Review for Superman. So guys, this is a rapid action review, which means that we're going to be cutting out some of the things that we normally talk about with our after action reviews in order to keep the video moving at a fast pace. I also do want to point out that I'm over here in this corner instead of being centered or even up here because of copyright claims. We're a big advocate for fair use over here at Mike's After Action Reviews, but that also means not just that content creators can use footage, but also that content creators have a responsibility. So we're trying to be responsible with that. You're going to be seeing all the clips up here. So let's get into this thing quickly. So Superman was released on July 8th, 2025. As far as the production companies, we have DC Studios, Domain Entertainment, and Troll Court Entertainment. The movie was written by James Gunn, and it was directed by James Gunn. The music was by David Fleming and John Murphy. The cast was David Corenswet as Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Isabella Merced, let me know in the comment section down below how to pronounce that, as Hawkgirl, one of my favorite DC superheroes, along with Green Lantern, so that's awesome. And then Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Fantastic. So, sorry, Mr. Terrific. My bad. I apologize for that. As far as the production, this is great production potential, as I've said with other things. Casting is great. The characters are great. I'm really liking the characters that they brought forward here, and I'm going to talk about my sustains, but basically they did a good job. I'll just tell you guys that. So moving into the plot, the runtime of Superman is 2 hours and 10 minutes, and the IMDb plot summary is as follows. Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as reporter Clark Kent. As the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way, he soon finds himself in a world that views these as old-fashioned. Okay, so this is another thing kind of like Captain America, like bringing all of those great values forward into kind of a world that, like it says here, views them as old-fashioned. I will say that it is truth, justice, and the American way, not the human way. It is the American way. Superman's values, while are the American values, even if those values are shared by other countries around the world. He was created in America. He was created during World War II. He is American. The American way. Okay, anyway, getting that out of the way. What the story is actually about, it's a little bit different than what they're describing here. Basically, something that I've always said is that Superman is so strong, so powerful, that he's basically unbeatable unless you have kryptonite. But really, what that means, though, is that fighting villains is never about being able to beat them physically. It's about being able to stop them from completing their objectives, which also, vice versa, means that villains are not trying to beat Superman physically necessarily, but they are trying to complete their objectives. So there is some things that are going on with that. Some politics, global politics, not like we've seen like woke politics or any of that stuff, but like actual political, like war and national conflicts going on that Superman gets involved in. And basically the villain of the story, Lex Luthor, undermines Superman's credibility, his how much he is liked, his approval rating, quote unquote, in order to prevent him from being able to complete some objectives, and he's got to wrestle with that. Let's move into my sustains and improves. So my first sustain is that this is a fun comic book movie. It has a comic book feel, which is not a bad thing. That does not mean that it is a kiddie thing. It just means that, look, we're here to have fun. There are some serious moments, but basically this is about characters that aren't real. They're beyond normal human issues, in a lot of ways. Not in every way, but in a lot of ways. And so we get that, just that fun, a little bit of campiness that they used to have in comic books. And we're not necessarily trying to make these characters totally grounded. On the other side of that, I think that they find a good balance because there is parts where it shows the groundedness of the characters. So we're not totally flying off the handle, but at the same time, we also are still a fun comic book movie. My second sustain is the self-seriousness along with heartfelt moments. So these characters are not silly, stupid versions of what you saw in the comic books. These characters, like this is Superman. You've got to, it's like when you play a game, like a board game or a role-playing game, and you allow yourself to become the character and not be taken out of it. Very few times in this are you going to be taken out of it by a joke or anything like that. 100% of the time that you see Superman, he is Superman. He's not making weird jokes or trying to be funny. All of the characters that way. There is incidental comedy that is actually, I think, is effective, but the whole thing is totally absorbed in what Superman is, if that makes sense. Like Thor in the MCU movies has kind of stopped being, I am the son of thunder, or I am the god of thunder, you know, and he cracks jokes and makes some stuff, which can be fun, but at the same time, you kind of lose that self-seriousness of the characters, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of those ideas, by the way. And then my third sustain is no controversial social issues. While there is some geopolitical things going on, it's geopolitical stuff. There's no controversial, you know, white, black, rich, poor, none of that kind of stuff. This is all things that would occur naturally, things that would make sense for Superman to be dealing with in the real world and with what is happening to him in the movie. And then my fourth sustain, I'm going to give you guys a fourth one, kind of a bonus sustain, is that there is a great villain. And the villain had a great plan. Like I was saying when talking about the plot, the villain's objective is not to beat Superman physically. Really, his real plan is to complete an objective which undermines Superman and actually effectively beats him without he himself, like I said, beating Superman physically, because that is an extreme challenge. That's what I'm going to say without spoiling it. There are some things that people might say, well, this, and it's like, no, let's not spoil it. So just bear with me on that. Okay, and then we're going to move into our approves. I don't have really a whole lot of improves. I will say that I don't think that they did a bad job with really anything in this movie, except there are some changes related to Superman's origins. Some of these were good, but one in particular could be considered controversial, and I think that moving forward, it's not going to be an issue with other movies, but in this movie, it's like, I don't know. There's going to be a piece missing that we got in the classical movies and in the Snyderverse movies. But overall, I would say that really was not the biggest issue. So moving into my final review score then, guys, hearing everything I've said so far, you should know that I'm going to give this one 2 thumbs way up. I think this was an excellent movie. I think that, which does not mean that it was perfect, but it was definitely a lot of fun, and I would be excited to see what they're going to do next. I hope that they have success and that they're able to take these characters that they presented here and, like I said, go forward with the DC EU. So that'd be really cool. That's all I've got today, guys. I want to thank you all for watching and just say God bless you all and have a good day. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord where you can voice chat with me while I live stream, and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after-action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below.